There are nights when the cottage remembers a name I have never spoken, and it waits for the echo to return. I tend a house older than the maps in my pocket, polishing jars of fireflies as if they were tiny, impatient sons. I coax a hearth that prefers to be dim and patient rather than bright and insistent. The flames answer in hushes and gold. I learned ritual chants from ink-faded scrolls whose edges curl like reluctant tongues. I read them aloud, though I cannot say they bring anything other than steadiness. Each night I arrange relics on the same table: a snapped compass, a button of milk glass. The placement is both prayer and habit. I believe, without being able to explain the belief, that a successor will one day arrive. My fingers know the choreography of that faith, even when my mind does not. Solitude is a companion I have made tea for and mended sleeves with. She sits by the window and keeps the small, vigil-like company of a cat that remembers everything. The forest that encircles the cottage is stitched with fog like a seam that never settles. Trees lean in to eavesdrop and release a smell of moss and old stories. At dusk, I release the fireflies I have kept in jars all summer. I watch them confer with the dark with tiny, obstinate passports of light. I perform the chant the scroll insists upon each night, pronouncing the same uncertain vowels and waiting to hear if the darkness answers back. It never does in plain speech, but it shifts as if turning a page. I mend the hearth with tools I have named after weather. I spoon ash away like a gardener removing weeds from patience. My humor is a small private thing. I laugh at my own rituals as if they were theatrical props, and then bow as if to an audience of shadows. Sometimes I arrange a bowl of stones and call them prospects. I imagine a hand older or younger than mine tracing the same pattern, finding solace in symmetry. I keep a spare kettle and a folded coat for the unknown arrival. I set an extra place at the table, though the chair often holds only the slow breath of night. There are nights when the dark speaks to me not in words, but in the shape of silence. It tells me what it has always told the patient. Wait. I listen as if the dark were a neighbor with a long story to tell, and I am the only attentive ear left in the village of the world. Once, a wind brought a fragment of paper from beyond the ridge, and on it was a name half-formed. I kept that half like a promise I had not yet learned to keep. I bind scrolls that unravel with the age of yew and candle fat. My hands are small, steady, useful in the way that keeping things tends to be useful. The jars of fireflies rattle like tiny clocks when I pass, and sometimes I think they are counting minutes for someone else's arrival. I polish the brass latch until it forgets its rust, as if cleanliness might be mistaken for readiness. Readiness is a thing I pretend to build, while I am actually learning how to wait. There is a tenderness in my solitude that is both armor and skin. I will not claim it as victory, only as truth. I am skeptical of simple consolation. I prefer the slow, stubborn consolation of ritual, because it does not pretend to fix what is broken. On some nights, the forest returns an echo that sounds almost like a laugh, or the beginning of a reply. I straighten the relics and listen harder. I do not know why I will myself into a succession that may never come. Perhaps the practice of believing is its own kind of heirloom. If a successor ever arrives, I will teach them the chance and the proper way to greet a dim hearth. If no one comes, I will have still kept the light with a kind of honest stubbornness. There is a moral in tending things that wait. Readiness is not merely a posture, but a daily, small fidelity to what you cannot yet see.